The area we now know as Spring Lake started off as farms in the mid-19th century. Today, Spring Lake is both a resort town and a thriving year-round community. O.H. Brown was elected mayor in 1904 and served as mayor until his death in 1924. Martin Maloney, another of the town's founders, had his summer home, Ballingarry, built in 1898. Spring Lake is a summer destination resort known for its timeless elegance and pristine beaches. There is a strong sense of community in Spring Lake with its many civic organizations. Spring Lake has 2 volunteer fire companies. Spring Lake has a garden club, the Spring Lake Historical Society, the Women's Club of Spring Lake, the Ashley Lauren Foundation is in Spring Lake, the Chamber of Commerce, the Preservation Alliance. The Spring Lake Community House is a center for the arts. It includes a theater workshop, and a dance school. Recently, Spring Lake had an exhibition of Seward Johnson's sculptures. How did Spring Lake go from a collection of farms to where it is today? Transportation, especially the railroad, is a big part of the story. Trains brought people from New York and Philadelphia society to Spring Lake, where they built summer houses. Vacationers were not far behind.
Some video and locations. This is turning left at 4th Avenue and South Boulevard, and in the back is Cuomo Station. Of course, that's not there anymore.
Horace Trumbauer built Martin Maloney's summer home, Ballingarry, which was completed in 1898. Later, Mr. Maloney commissioned Trumbauer to build St. Catherine's Church, named after his daughter, who died in her teens. Holy Trinity Church was built in 1880 and added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1991. St. Andrew's Methodist Church was built in 1887. It was the first Spring Lake church to open year-round. It is listed in the National Registry of Historic Places. The 1880s saw the beginning of the grand hotels of the Gilded Age being built in Spring Lake.
This is the Breakers Hotel, which was originally called Wilburton by the Sea, after Wilbur Tuttle. A brochure, pictures from the Essex and Sussex and articles about it. Was from a 1895 brochure. It was later called the Colonial. This is known as the Lucas Cottages. They were built in 1891. That was the start of the Warren Hotel. The Warren Hotel was actually built on Mercer Avenue. The Allaire Hotel was built in 1886 by people from Philadelphia, and the land was at Ocean and Union Avenues in Spring Lake. This is a 1950s tax picture of the hotel. It really does look handsomer than this now. It was built in 1882. The Hewitt Wellington is still a going concern. This is the Shoreham Hotel. Every spring, the graduating class from Mounts had their pictures taken on the steps. This is the Mounts class of 46 meeting on the steps. Jack Sullivan's, that was on the corner of Morris and 5th, unfortunately, is gone.
In 1929, at the Newport News shipyard in Virginia, 2 sister ships were being built for the Ward Line's New York to Havana run. Designed by the naval architect Theodore Ferris, they would become the line's flagships. Of the 2, one ship would go fairly unnoticed by history. The other, much as the sinking of the Titanic had done more than 2 decades earlier, would forever change the way we travel the oceans. Later, on September 8, 1934, the end came for the Morrow Castle. Her charred remains drifted ashore at Asbury Park, New Jersey, after a tragic fire had claimed 134 of her passengers and crew. 56 years have passed, and the disaster that befell the Morrow Castle is still shrouded in mystery. It is September 7th, 7:45 p.m. Captain Robert Wilmot is found dead in his cabin. Chief Officer William Worms assumes command. At 2:45 a.m., a fire is discovered in the writing room on B deck. It quickly spreads aft throughout the ship.
My roommate, Russ Harrison, who was the second assistant purser, and I were assigned a cabin on D deck aft on the port side. Came a loud knock on the door. And the junior electrician pushed his way into the room. He didn't have the door locked, thinking we were passengers. Said, get up, get dressed, put on your life jackets, and come on deck. The ship is on fire. See, we were in the passenger quarters at that time because the assistant purser's room was quite small, and it was our privilege to go ahead and occupy unsold passenger space. So Les and I both got up and got dressed right away in full uniform. So we went directly up to the purser's office, where Bob Tolman, the purser, and the cruise director, Bob Smith, were standing just in front of it. I said to Mr. Tolman, is it very serious? And he said to me, well, go up and take a look, pointing to B deck. So I took a look, walked up the stairwell to B deck, and it was a massive fire.
I wouldn't have gone, but my cousin wanted to go. She had been in poor health, and her family, she didn't want to go alone. She wanted somebody to go with them. And I was due for a vacation. I was working. So they called, and we talked about it, and I went up, and I said, well, I wasn't too keen about that type of a vacation. I'd rather gone to the mountains somewhere. But she thought she'd like it. We were all in one cabin, in our cabin, really, making plans because we were going to meet in New York the following week as sort of a reunion thing. And we were all there, and a rap came on the door and told us, put your lifesavers on and get up on deck, fire. And with that, they left. Then we could smell the smoke. Everybody stood around not knowing what to do, nobody directing you what to do. And somebody said, where's the water hose? So they went over, and these men, you know, they're all rolled up and got them out. And there was just like a trickle of your little finger of water in those hoses. There was no water in them. One young officer, I don't know who he was, showed us how to link our arms together and hold our hands together. So when we jumped, we would be together, or should be together. And then he helped us up to get on the top of the railing. He'd say, and then he said, jump. So my brother, I felt sorry for him because he had to go up and down, you know, identifying people. And our faces were shaped alike, but she had auburn hair and hazel eyes. And of course, her hair being dark, he thought he had me. But then they inspected, and she had 2 artificial teeth. And that's how he identified her.
A new book being written by Bob McDonnell and Fred Rasmussen may put to rest some unanswered questions. It is also likely to spark new controversy. When they began the project 6 years ago, they could not anticipate that after 56 years, FBI files on the case are still being withheld or censored.
We did file suit.
Spring Lake began its evolution to a year-round town in the post-war era. Here you see a Little League parade and flagpole dedication from the 1940s. The Spring Lake Historical Society was founded in 1977. 1977 was the year of the first Spring Lake 5K run. Spring Lake celebrated its centennial in 1992.
Welcome to Spring Lake, everyone. We're celebrating 100 years as one town. The American Legion Post 432 was founded in 1946 and now has 115 members representing World Wars I, II, the Korean War, Vietnam War, and the Panama conflict.
Spring Lake has evolved into a year-round town and today serves as a premier summer destination resort on the Jersey Shore. Enjoy your time in Spring Lake, and thank you for visiting the Spring Lake Historical Society Museum.